Okay, so I thought I would go live today because my daughter fell asleep in the car. So I've been sitting here for 30 minutes. Luckily, I brought a book. I brought a book by my friend Carol Ann. So I've been reading this, which is fun, and I've been looking up fun facts on the internet for no purpose whatsoever. However, I did learn this fun fact. Okay. In the year 2000, a woman was at a Britney Spears concert. Britney Spears spit out her gum. It's gross, but okay. Spit out her gum. The woman grabbed the gum, sold the chewed Britney Spears gum for $14,000 on eBay. $14,000. I don't know. So I'm just thinking maybe somebody had enough money to spend $14,000 on chewed bubble gum, so they might have had enough money to actually clone Britney Spears from that. I'm just saying that could be out there. There's no proof of it. I don't know. This is just my theory. I'm just saying it could happen. You've seen Jurassic Park. They can do amazing things. Science, right? Okay, come on and say hi. Please say hi so I'm not talking to myself. This is just a friendly little chat because I am bored. So come say hi so I'm not talking to myself. Please, tell me where you're from. Tell me anything. I don't care. Tell me your fun fact of the day. So anyways, hanging out in my car, and I've been... Hey, Jennifer. That's my friend Jennifer. Is it working? Can I see? I can't see any comments. There's Chuck. Hey, Chuck. What's going on? Okay, come on. Please say hi. I don't want to sound desperate, but I don't enjoy being alone. Everybody, well, that's not true. I love being alone. There was a time when I hated being alone, and being alone was like my worst nightmare, and now things have flipped and taken a turn, and now being alone is my greatest gift. And then it'll flip again, and I will be lonely again when my kids are all grown up and out of the house, and I'm sure I will hate being alone. But for now, I enjoy it. Yeah, chewed bubblegum, Judith. That's disgusting. Hey, Mary. Linda, the Enneagram is amazing. It is so interesting. I'm really into the Enneagram right now. I'm very, very into it. It's really been interesting and eye-opening. And hey, Janie. Hey, Elizabeth. Okay, come say hi. Let's talk about the Enneagram. Raise your hand if you have heard of the Enneagram. Raise your hand. And then raise your hand. No, don't raise your hand. Raise your hand if you've heard of the Enneagram. Put a heart if you've done it. And you know, I want to know what's your number. Don't put a heart. Don't do that. But put a heart. Hey, Meredith. Congrats. Put your number. If you know what your Enneagram number is, drop it. You can be... Okay, so what the Enneagram is, let me explain it first for everyone who doesn't know. Danielle knows what the Enneagram is. Okay, Amy, you have no clue. Okay, the Enneagram, it sounds like voodoo or some kind of witchcraft or something like that. It's not. Tanya knows what the Enneagram is, or it sounds like a medical procedure. It's also not that. So the first time somebody said Enneagram to me, I was like an enema? And they were like, no, Amy, not an enema, an Enneagram. No, it's not an enema. There are two very different things. So the Enneagram is basically, it's kind of an in-depth personality test. And so it gives you 9 personality types that are basically like to the core who you are, what sort of drives you. This is who you are. And this man has been around for forever, and y'all can tell me if I'm wrong, but like monks developed it a long, long time ago, and then some people, not too terribly long ago, like went over and brought it back and kind of Christianized it. So now, if you go buy the book, The Road Back to You, which I totally recommend buying The Road Back to You, absolutely 100% recommend it. I will recommend it all day, every day. Because it's interesting, and two, it'll teach you a lot about yourself. So this man was basically, he felt like he kept making the same mistake over and over and over and over again, which I absolutely relate to on a very deep level. I always tell people this. Anybody who asks the scripture verse that I relate to the most, no, not my favorite scripture verse, but the scripture verse that I relate to the most, it's Paul, when Paul says, I do the very things I hate. Paul, me too. I keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And so I just like, I'm like, I feel that. I feel that, and I don't know why. It's like I'm a grown woman. I feel like I should be able to control myself, but sometimes I feel I can't. I make this mistake knowing the outcome's going to be bad, and I continue to do it over and over. Like, it's like a stumbling block that keeps being laid out in front of me, and for the life of me, I can't recognize that stumbling block, and I just fall flat on my face every time. And so this man was basically doing the same thing, and he wanted to really figure out, like, why was he making the same mistake? Why couldn't he get over this? Why couldn't he overcome this? Why was he doing the same thing over and over and over again, even though he knew it wasn't good for him? So he goes over, he studies, he does all this stuff. Anyways, and this monk introduced him to the Enneagram. And so you've got 9 different personality traits. There's a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Very scientific names there, but you basically got 1 through 9. You figure out your which number you are, and then you kind of figure out what makes you tick. And when you figure that out, it really helps you go, okay, that's why I keep stumbling that, because in the heart of who I am, that's my thing. Like that's my thing. That's why I keep stumbling over that same thing. And then once you recognize, what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, hopefully you can overcome those weaknesses. But you can also go, okay, but I can use it in this way. Does that make sense? I mean, that's the purpose. We've all got to know ourselves, and it's not fun knowing the bad things about yourself. Like, every time I read about my number, I'm a 9, by the way. I'm a 9. I cringe, because 9, there are some really good traits about a 9, and there are some really crummy ones. And I cringe inside knowing, okay, Frida, in my opinion, the best book about the Enneagram you could Google Enneagram, and it's going to be all over. Maybe it's Enneagram. I say Enneagram. You can Google it. There are Instagram pages for the Enneagram. In my opinion, the best book to read about it is called The Road Back to You. It's a great book. So I read, and I thought I was a 2, which 2 is basically based on people pleasing. Just a people pleaser. You want everybody to be happy. You love people so much that you just want them to be happy. And I always thought I was a 2. And then I read this, and I got to the part about 9, and hey Dixie, I'm glad you caught it. I got to a 9, and I just bawled, because I was like, that's me. That's me. So a 9, basically, a 9 enjoys comfort, which explains why I love being at home. A 9 is kind of an introvert, but not really an introvert, which also explains so many things about me. A 9 sometimes has the appearance of being lazy, but it's not that they're lazy, it's that they're overwhelmed easily. And when they get overwhelmed, they just shut down. A 9, have I said this, loves being home, will always choose something comfortable over something fancy, will always choose pizza over a fancy ball thing. Summer, it's basically like a personality thing. So it's going to tell you your personality, kind of what makes you tick, your strengths and your weaknesses. It's got 9 different personalities. You're going to have one main personality, and then you're going to have some wings. So you're going to take on traits of the other numbers. It's just to help you figure out things about yourself, help you relate to other people, help you figure out why you are the way that you are, why other people are the way that you are. And it's just so interesting. So in number 9, you want comfort. So number 9's biggest fear in life is really drama. They do not do drama. They do not do conflict. Avoid it at all costs. It's not that you don't get angry. It's not that you don't get mad. But you're so scared of creating a controversy that you tend not to say anything. You don't always value yourself. You tend to value other people over yourself. And number 9 just kind of shuts down when they get overwhelmed. And they do get overwhelmed easily. Because they're processing so much information, and they tend to see things from other people's point of views very easily. A 9 just wants peace, basically. A 9 always wants peace. Jess, I'm sure there are tests you can take. I'm sure there's a ton of tests I just read it, and I read the book, and I was like, oh yes, 9. Okay, yes, that is me. My biggest fear is someone being mad at me. And that is basically what drives me in life, is making sure that no one is ever mad at me, and that there's never conflict, and everybody is happy, and everything is smooth. And you can watch me, like, my family will make so much fun of me, because anytime there's they don't mind conflict. They don't mind conflict. They don't mind confrontation. They'll have it out, and you can just watch me, like, they'll start, and I'm like, moonwalking out of the room, like, I gotta get out of there. Like, I gotta get out of there. I'm so uncomfortable. Like, I can even, like, read people's fights on Facebook. I'm like, I don't want to be involved in that. So we're super loyal, which is great, except for that some people don't appreciate the fact that we, like, dig in. Like, once we think you're our friend, like, we want that comfort, and we will overlook pretty much any flaw. We'll overlook pretty much anything. Just, we don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to lose a friend. We don't want anybody being mad at us. We don't want anything like that. So we're loyal. We just want you to stay our friend. Doesn't really matter what. We'll get through it. Just don't leave us. That is kind of what drives the 9. Okay, Courtney, the Enneagram, Enna app, or the Enneagram coach. Great resources. Oh, Melissa, no, I don't want anybody to be mad at me either. No strangers. Like, I will think about it forever. If I, yesterday driving, we were both trying to turn at the same time, and it, like, for an hour afterwards, I was like, oh my gosh, I hope he's not mad at me. Like, I felt so bad, and it's so dumb. It wasn't really anybody's fault. We were just turning at the same time into the same place, and it just happens. But I felt horrible for like an hour afterwards. So that has been one of my greatest things that I've had to overcome in life, is being okay with people not liking me, and being okay with people being mad. Hey, Kenny. And I have to work on that. I tell people, I'm like, it's at this point, it's kind of an addiction. Like, I'm addicted. I want people to like me, and I want things to be easy, and it's an addiction. So it is something that I have to very, very, very actively work to go, it's okay, Amy, you cannot lose sleep because somebody's mad at you, or because someone misinterpreted what you said, or because someone took things the wrong way. Obviously, because I'm on here, and people on Facebook get really mad about everything. And I've been told I'm a horrible mom recently. People have read my stuff, and I'm a horrible mom. Someone's comment, I need psychiatric help. That's nice. I actually go to counseling, and he hasn't noticed anything, but thank you for your very professional opinion that I need psychiatric help. I mean, people are mean on Facebook, and I have had to work really hard to just not care, and to go, okay, Amy, those are not your issues. Those are their issues. Leave it alone. Those are strangers on the internet, and clearly something is not good in their life, because hurt people, and sad people try to make other people sad. So I really had to actively work to be like, it's okay, Amy. You don't have to please everybody. You don't have to make every situation peaceful. You do not have to make everything happy and sunshine all the time. That's not your job. You can be a grown-up. You can deal with confrontation. You can deal with fights. Even with my husband, that's a hard thing that we have to overcome, because we don't fight very often. But when we do, I immediately want out. I want out, and I'm like, it's okay. Can we stop talking about this? And he's like, no, Amy, we need to talk about it. We need to talk about it. We need to, like, make sure this doesn't happen again. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, can we please be done? Can we please be done? Can we please be done with this fight? Can we please be done with this fight? And, hey, Christy. And, so I've had to work to, like, have uncomfortable conversations and go ahead and, like, have those fights and have those discussions that are hard. Another thing people always ask, and I'll just get real personal here. I'm not crying, my eyes watering. People always ask why I haven't written a book yet, why I haven't started doing any of those things, and I couldn't figure out why either. I'm like, I don't know. That's my goal. I want to write books. I want to do all these things, and my platform has grown in such a way that is clearly the next step, and I shouldn't be scared to do it. Pretty sure, but I just get so scared of rocking the boat or putting myself out there that I genuinely shut down. I genuinely shut down. I had a publisher who was ready to go. I had a book proposal. They loved my book proposal. liked me. We got along great. That publisher was ready to go, and I shut it down. I was like, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And it's just because it's a very overwhelming thing to me. I am very fearful of change. I'm very scared. I don't like putting myself out there and just making myself open to be criticized, and God has really had to work on that a lot with me. Christy, I'm sorry. My daughter, one of her favorite things in the whole world is to pour water into bowls. She makes a mess everywhere, but she could sit there for hours and do it. So that is something I'm working on overcoming, is being brave and just taking the next step. And I tend to, I'll start to write and I think, nobody cares what I have to say. Why would anybody care what I have to say? I'm not really special. I'm just this kind of normal girl. There's no way anybody's going to care enough what I have to say to write a whole book. And so I just shut it down. I shut myself down, and I just shut down. And so I'm working really hard on being brave and following through with the next steps. But, okay, does anybody know what number they are in the Enneagram? I've talked a lot about the number 9 because that's what I am. My husband's a 5. He's a 5, so he is very matter of fact. He likes facts. He likes black and white. He's an observer of people. He's not going to he's not going to talk a lot. I just called him and we kind of had a crazy morning, and the 2-year-old has been super 2 lately, and I was talking to him about it, and his response was literally yeah, I'm sorry. And that's it. That's all he had to say. So I have to drag things out of him because he's a great listener. He's a great observer. He doesn't always know what to say. He's very calculated. He's not going to say the wrong thing almost ever. He thinks he is so unbelievably annoying to play games with. We'll play Monopoly and he sits there and I'm just okay, I'll do this, whatever. Or we'll play Scrabble and I'm whatever, and I just move, and the first thing that comes to mind is what I do. I don't put a lot of thought into it. And he oh my gosh, he takes a lot of time thinking about every single move that he makes, and it's so annoying. He's so annoying to play games with. And on top of that, he always wins, which is also very annoying because we're both very competitive. So annoying. I got Chick-fil-A this morning. Gosh, treat yourself. Thanks, Elizabeth. Yeah, we'll see. I think the book is coming. It's coming, but it will be a very big leap for me. It will be a very big thing for me to do because I am just scared out of my wits end to do it. I know that God wants me to. I think that that's the obvious next step. It's something I want to do. There are other things that I want to do that I'm trying to work on. But the book is going to be a big step for me. The book is going to be a big... Amy, okay, number 2. 2 is really... I thought for sure that I was in number 2. So 2s love people. And they just want everybody to be happy. And they want to make people happy. And so they have to... 2s kind of have to work on putting themselves first. A 20? There's not a number 20, Amy. It was a 20 and 1 and 2. I don't know what that means. Tell me what that means, Amy. But I totally recommend... Oh, you scored 20. Okay. I gotcha. Buy the book, The Road Back to You. It's so good. And it will help you with your relationships when you can figure out, it helps you not to get angry at people. It helps you kind of to okay, so my husband and I... Some of the fights that we will have, it's the same thing over and over and over. So it's things I want him to make a bigger deal about things. I want him to talk to me and be ooey gooey. And do you know what I'm saying? All that stuff. That's sort of what I want because I'm over here. And that's not who he is. He can't change that. He can't change it. So he can work on those things. But at the end of the day, he's going to be a man of few words. He just is. There's nothing I can do to change that. And I am going to be someone that, if you want me not to be late, that's going to be a hard thing for me to do. If you want me to, really get up and get going and, move, and if you want a routine, I'm going to struggle greatly with those things. No matter what, on the core of who I am, I'm going to struggle with those things. I can get better because I'm a grown-up, and part of being a grown-up is we work on the things that we're not good at. but I'm still going to struggle with it. And so when you kind of figure out what other people's numbers are, you can go, okay, no, I get it. I get why I get how you feel. I don't feel that same way, but I get that you're wired that way. And so I understand why you feel that way. So it helps so much with the relationships. We can figure out what our kids are, what our friends are. Because I think sometimes the problems with friends is we think, and it kind of, Amanda, I'm not sure who the author is. There are two of them, and I can't think of them. There's a man and there's a woman, and I can't think of them off the top of my head. But it's The Road Back to You. It's a yellow book. The cover's yellow. But with black wording. And I wish I had it in the car with me. Anyways, I'll put a picture of it up when we're done chatting. Okay, Julie's the number 6. Can you tell me, give me a brief, because I don't know all the numbers. I sort of focused on the ones that me and my husband were. But give us a brief little thing on what a number 6 is. Oh, no, Summer, it's not against Christian beliefs at all. It's a Christian book. It is a Christian book. He wrote it from a Christian's point of view. He uses the word sins a lot, but he kept sinning in the same way. He kept doing the same thing over and over and over. He was pastor of a big church over and over, and he didn't want to do it anymore, and he wanted to figure out why he couldn't get out of this trap of making the same mistake over and over and over. So he studied this from monks, brought it over, and Christianized it. So it's a very, very Christian book, Summer. Very Christian. It'll help you with your relationship with God so much, because it just kind of lets you know, this is how I'm wired. This is kind of things that, it's just things where I'm going to be good at this, and in these areas, I'm going to need help in that. So I kind of learned, yes, I can write a book. There are other things that I want to start. My big goal is to start, basically, I don't want to call it a Bible study, because I don't want it to be a Bible study, but I want it to be kind of like small groups for women. And, value and belong. Okay, yes. Awesome. Thank you, Julie. So I want to start small groups for women, and I want to start it here in my hometown and really get it going and really get it strong, and really figure out how to help women just connect with each other and form strong friendships, because in my opinion, that is one of the things women of our time and right now women are struggling with the most, is figuring out how to really connect with each other and how to make good, strong, lasting friendships, because we need to be doing life with each other, and right now we're not doing it. We're doing life alone, and sometimes we text each other, but for the most part we're doing life alone. And I really want to help women find that connection, because I've done a lot of study on it. Your friendships are some of the studies I've said your friendships are the overall indicator of your happiness, not necessarily your marriage or your kids, because obviously you're going to find joy out of your marriage and your kids, but you're also going to have to give to those a lot. But your friendships are just for you. And so they were saying, your friendships, the overall your life expectancy, the number one indicator of your life expectancy, your friendships, having good friends. The number one, they were saying one really, really, really good friend is, hey Jess, hey Laura, one really, really good friend is the equivalent of making $100,000 a year. So if you have 2 good friends, that's the same as making $200,000 a year, happiness-wise. That's a lot of money, guys. And so I am just very interested in this, in helping women cultivate these friendships. And so I want to start these groups, but I also, because now I'm better aware of kind of who I am and where I fall flat, I am a great ideas person. I am wonderful at coming up with ideas. I'm wonderful about being passionate about stuff and excited about stuff. I'm also wonderful at letting things fall through the cracks, because I don't want to mess with the details of it. That's too much. It's over it, and it gets overwhelming, and then done. I'm done. That's not what I'm good at. I'm not going to do it. So I also know that I'm going to need to find women to help me build this thing, because I know that I can't do it alone. I'm a 9, and I'm going to need a 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and an 8 to help me, so that we can do this thing together. So it really helps you with other people, and it helps you know, sometimes what happens in our friendships, things that we look at and we're like, man, I can't believe that happened. I don't know why they did that. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's so cool, Christy. Well, thanks. Yeah, tell follow. Okay, Renee, 1 is a great number. Every number is a good number, and every number is a terrible number. Like, there's good and bad to all of it. Jennifer, yeah, I totally agree. Like, it's so easy to drift, and I hear people say that all the time. I hear people say that all the time. I want to have good friends. I just don't have time to pour into them. Okay, well, I'm sorry, but if you aren't giving your friendships time, they're not gonna be strong. You know, so for a long time, I only focused on Facebook, right? And my Facebook group. I focused on Facebook, and my Facebook flourished. And I totally ignored Instagram. Recently, I've been paying attention to Instagram. And guess what happened when I focused on Instagram? It's flourished and it's grown. You know why? Because things flourish when we focus on them. So if you want your marriage to flourish, focus on it. Give it time. Love it. Water it. Focus on it. Make it a priority. If you want, I don't think there's one person in here who isn't focusing on motherhood. Honestly, I think we're really good at focusing on motherhood. I think we're really good at making that a top priority spot. And I think sometimes more where we struggle is we let motherhood take over everything. And we think that we need to be doing everything for our children. We let everything else fall away. And then we wonder why we're unhappy. And it's because we've let everything fall away. But if you want, maybe you are struggling with that. If you want your motherhood to flourish, focus on it. If you want your relationship with God to grow, focus on it. Whatever it is, if you want your business to grow, focus on it. And where your focus is, that's where you're going to grow. I mean, it just is. So if you want good friendships, focus on them. Stop pushing them away. Stop making excuses why you don't have time. You make time for them. If you want good friendships, I'm sorry. I see memes. Just you're 7 married to a 9. That's why you're a runner. That's why you're good at it. That's why you're good at it. Jess is the best. Jess's page is Wonder Oak Blog. And if y'all are not following Jess with Wonder Oak Blog, I'm telling you, you're missing out. She's one of my absolute favorites. As a person and as a writer. Love her. I really like her. Hi, Judy from South Dakota. Thank you, Christy. Well, I hope my books will be great. Anyways, so what I'm saying is, like, I see these memes get passed all around all the time, and they break my heart. And they talk about how they're basically like, yeah, I may not text you back all the time, and I may ignore your text, I may not call you for 6 months, but I'm here if you need me. Okay, but just realize that other person probably doesn't think you're being a very good friend because you're not focusing on it. You say that? Do I answer every text message? No, we do have lives and we do get busy, and yes, our friends understand, but if you haven't talked to somebody for a year, if you haven't invested in them in a year, you haven't been a good friend to them. I'm sorry, you haven't. If you don't respond to their texts more than you don't, do you know what I'm saying? If you don't respond to them more than you ignore them, don't expect those friendships to flourish if you're not focusing on them. I'm sorry. Those memes absolutely break my heart because they are missing the point, and they're so selfish. It takes 2 seconds to answer a text, and yes, sometimes life gets busy, but it takes 2 seconds. You can respond to somebody. Somebody told me this, and now I'm going to go off on a rant, okay? Can I permission to rant? Hey, Brandy. Hey, Megan. Okay, 2, 7, and 4. So interesting. Okay, I'm going to go off on a rant here. It's a little piece of life advice. So I was in college, and no, I'm not mad at all. I was in college, and I was going. Brandy. Okay, because I hate those memes where people share and they're like, yeah, I may not answer your text for a while, and I might not always respond, and I might not see you for 6 months, and I might not call you for a year, but I'm always here if you need me. No, you're not. You're being a bad friend. Don't ignore people that you love. Don't expect relationships to flourish if you're not focusing on them. Sorry. It's just not how relationships work. It's not how stuff works. That person, you're going to hurt their feelings probably, and they're probably going to move on. And I hope that they do, because they deserve better than that. They deserve somebody who responds to their text. Typically, Does that mean that you have to give this person all your time and all your energy? No, it just means you make them a priority. That's what you do. No, I'm not mad. Anyway, so here is, when I was in college, hey, Mickey! When I was in college, and y'all, I know this stuff happens, and I know that we all go through stuff, and we go through periods where just stuff happens and stuff, do you know what I'm saying? I know we go through and stuff happens, and we genuinely, we're going through stuff, and we genuinely don't have time, and I totally understand that. But for the most part, if you want to have good friends, be a good friend. And we make it so much more difficult than it is. But if you want to have a good marriage, be a good wife. You can't make your husband be a good husband. That's the one thing you can't make him. But you be a good wife. You focus on you, and you focus on what you can do. Okay. So, here's what I was going to say. So, when I was in college, I was dating this boy. And this boy, he would kind of respond to me. Sometimes he would want to hang out, and sometimes he would completely ignore me. And he always had an excuse for, he played football, and he's just too busy. He's too busy. Well, one of my best guy friends that we had been best friends for a long time, he also played football at A&M. He was like, oh, have you hung out with so-and-so in a while? And I said, they were buddies. And I said, no, he's really busy. So, we still talk all the time, but no, we haven't hung out in a while. And he told me, and it was some of the best advice I've ever gotten. And still to this day, I try to remember it. He goes, Amy, people will make time for the things that they care about. People will always make time for things that they want to make time for. They will. They'll make time. And he was like, if he really wanted to hang out with you, if he really wanted to make time for you, and he really liked you, I promise he'd make time. I promise he'd make time. I promise he would find time to do it. He's like, I am talking to you right now. I found time to hang out with you. And that's just what he said. He's like, no matter what, they can say that they're busy all they want to. He can say that he's busy. He can say that he's overwhelmed. And he is. Sometimes you have stuff to do. Sometimes you're busy. He does have a lot on his plate. But somebody who really cares about you will always make time for you. And that kind of changed the way I looked at stuff. And just, oh, okay. And so I've said this. Yeah, Nikki. Yeah, you are. And I am too. So that is something that I've always remembered, like, make time for people that you care about, make time for the things that you love. And I can go like that. My very favorite, do I always make time to go to Chick-fil-A? Yeah, because I love Chick-fil-A. I make time for it. So it's true in relationships too. Like, the things that are the most, and time is limited. It is limited, and we're pressed for time, and I get it. Sometimes life gets busy, and we get overwhelmed. Like, we have t-ball practices, and whatever sports your kids are in. Like, what overwhelms you the most? Because mine is when my kids start sports. Because then it's like Monday night sports, Tuesday night sports, Thursday night sports, Friday night sports. That's when I get the most overwhelmed, and when I really am like, oh, I don't have time for anything else. But still, it comes down to you make time for the things you really care about. One of the best things I've ever done for my marriage ever is we carved out and said, okay, and you pick a night and say, this day at this time we have a standing babysitter, and we go on a date every day. Every week we go on a date. It's a standing date, and sometimes that date lasts 1 hour, and we will literally drive down the road and get fast food and just drive and laugh in the car for 1 hour, and that's our date. That's all we get. We have to be home to, do whatever, but we made it a priority to do that once a week, and that's the strongest our marriage has ever been, and it's just because we made time for it. We said, okay, I'm going to invest in it because I think it's important. So anyways, that's that. Hey Chancey, hey Ashley. We'll always make time for the things we really care about, and that's just the truth, and I hope we do. We should make time for the things we really care about. But you focus on what you want to flourish. So if you want your friendships to flourish, focus on them. Marriage, focus on it. Business, focus on it. You focus on it. And take the Enneagram test. It's amazing. And that's probably, I'm talking to somebody now because, like I said, I want to start this kind of a small group for women, and that's probably the first thing we're going to do is study the Enneagram. I want everybody to figure out what number you are, because it's so helpful when you figure out what makes you tick, and you figure it out, like, okay, this is why I'm wired. This is the number one thing that I want in my life. Mine is peace. I want peace and I want comfort. It's why it's why as a friend I'm so... Mine too, Jess. We should do something with it together. It is amazing. We should so do something with it together. But I figured out why I'm wired that way, and that's why, like, I'm loyal to the fact that I'm probably clingy as a friend, and it's because I don't want to make new... Not that I don't want to make new friends, I just don't want things to change on such a deep level. I appreciate it. So, you know, and then you figure out, like, oh, okay, you know what? No, we're still good friends. They're just wired differently. At the heart of who we are, we want two different things. This person wants, is driven by motivation and success, and I'm driven by peace. And we're still really good friends, but I can see, do you know what I'm saying? We tend to only see things from our perspective, and Enneagram will help open that up. And so we can get along with each other and just understand other people. It's so important, and understand us most of all. Okay, Christy, how you do the Enneagram is, you can go online, you can Google it, you can probably take a test in about 10 minutes. I think everybody needs to read the book, The Road Back to You. My gosh, if y'all want to do it and do a study on it, I'll try to figure that out and get somebody to help us do that, because I just think it's so important, and it is so interesting. Brandy, it is really hard when your friends... My best friend lives a couple hours away, and Natalie, I'm a 9 too. We can hang out in sweatpants together and take naps and stuff. Road Back to You is the best book. Everybody, Google it right now. Give yourself somewhere between $15 and $20. It is absolutely worth it. Absolutely worth it. Go buy that book. Oh, okay, Jess, the typology podcast. Okay, listen to it. Chancey, yes, I can see you being a 2. Very much see you being a 2, and that's such a good number. I really thought I was a 2 for a long time. I always thought I was a 2, but then I actually read the book, and I just, like, tears just, like, fell down my face, because as a kid, so I had a good childhood. I can't, I'm not going to go into my childhood or anything, but I would hide in my closet. I would sing Jesus Loves Me until I fell asleep. I just wanted peace. I just wanted peace and everything to be smooth. And so that's why, to this day, that's what I crave. Anyways, in tears, like when I read, I really thought I was a 2, but when I read the description of a number 9, like, I just started bawling, because it was just so me, and I knew, oh, that's me. Okay, there you go. Everybody, I love y'all. Thanks for being here. Christmas is crazy, and it's busy. I'm taking somewhat of a break. I mean, I'm still going to be here, but, like, where you focus, you flourish, right? And I will just tell you, I'm not focusing on Facebook probably the next week. I love y'all. I'm not focusing on Facebook. My goal for the year was to have 10,000 followers, and we passed that. We passed it by so much. It blows me away. 10,000, that's all I wanted. And I thought, if I can have 10,000 people in this group, that would just be amazing. And there are over 80,000 right now in 1 year. Blows me away. But I do have some exciting things happening. I'm trying to work on some things. I am trying to plan and organize as best I can. I'm just so thankful for y'all, and I don't ever take it for granted at all. I'm really thankful. I'm really, really thankful, and I love y'all so much, and I'm so thankful, and I wish y'all knew, like, I wish I could just, like, Julie, so I'm not real good at focusing and reading something all the way through. I don't know if you can tell this about me. I'm on the far end of ADHD. I've got quite a bit of it. So sitting down and reading a whole book all the way through is just not something I'm ever going to be good at. So I kind of skipped around, and I read the parts. I'm pretty sure I've read the whole thing, but I have jumped around and skipped and gone back and read this and this and this. I totally focused on my number and my husband's number, though. But I did want to at least skim. I wanted to know about all the numbers just so I could, like, relate to other people. better and be able to figure out what other people are. But no, sitting down and reading a whole book all the way through is very difficult for me. I'm so ADHD. I'm pretty sure y'all know that. And y'all can tell. Y'all can tell. It's obvious. I remember when I sat down to get diagnosed for it, and within I think the doctor within 5 minutes was like, yes, you have it. Yes, you have it. And I was like, well, how can you tell? And he was like, I'm just watching you talk. How many ceiling tiles are in this room? And I was like, 8. And he was like, yes, normal people don't count ceiling tiles. And I was like, oh, really? That's interesting. That's something I thought everybody did. And he was like, no, most people focus on what the other person's saying. But not me. Okay. Y'all are wonderful. I'm super thankful for y'all. I if I could host some big giant party and I could fly you all in and fly every single one of y'all to this big party, and we would do nothing but dance, and I would give each of you a hug and just talk to y'all and let you know. I wish I could do that. That is my ultimate dream. I want to meet all of you. I want to hug all of you. I just want you to know how thankful that I am for you. I wish I could host them. I wish I had just all the money in the world and I would just host a big giant party for all of us. But I don't. But I'm so thankful for y'all. Oh, Julie, you want another chat about ADHD? I'll do it, but it's going to be all over the place. Christy, thanks, girl. I hope y'all have a great Christmas too. But anyways, just so y'all know, for the next month or the next week, 2 weeks, I'm going to be kind of in and out. I'm not really focusing on Facebook. I'll probably be on Instagram more because I'm trying to grow that right now. But I'm just going to be with my family and my friends. That's what I'm focusing on. So, anyways, thank you, Laura. I'm so glad you're here. Hey, Kendi. Okay, now I'm really going to go. She's awake, so I can go back inside and clean up. God did not give me the cleanup gene. He didn't. That's okay. Didn't give me the cleanup gene though. Okay, I love y'all. Take the Enneagram test. The road back to you. Everybody needs to buy it. It's so good. Okay, it's so good. I'll drop a link or something. Not a link, at least a picture of the book, like a little screenshot of it, so y'all can know what it looks like, because I think everybody needs it. Okay, bye.